Just like your teacher back in high school, today I'm going to talk about creating a system for success. Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Now what does that mean? What is a system? Well, let's check out what the definition is. Define system.
Here's the definition of system. A set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network.
Okay, so that is the first definition of system. I actually prefer the second one here, which is right below it. Let me turn on voice.
A set of principles or procedures according to which something is done, an organized scheme or method.
A set of principles or procedures according to, what did she say? I already forgot.
2. A set of principles or procedures according to which something is done, an organized scheme or method.
Set of principles or procedures according to which something is done. So recently I was working with a client. This gentleman recently lost a huge majority of his sight. And this happened very quickly. It was over the course of like a week. He went from working, driving, living a perfectly average sighted life to not being able to see almost completely. And so I was working with him on assistive technology, introducing him to this world, and we were talking about developing systems to help in his everyday life, and in particular, going back to work. He really wants to go back to work, and so we were trying to think of ways that he could accomplish that. So he worked in a clothing store, and his family actually owned a clothing store. And it was upper scale, high-end men's clothing, suits, sports jackets. And he'd worked there for years and years and years. He loved it. He really wanted to go back. And I said, you can. We can figure this out, all right? This isn't impossible. People do this all the time. You just have to figure out how to do it in a different way. And part of that is creating systems. So one thing we talked about, well, first of all, we talked about what kind of assistive technology he might be able to use. One thing that he was really concerned about was how to measure a guy for a suit and help him pick out the right suit for him. So I showed him a color identifier. He was really impressed with that, really excited. He said, okay, I'll be able to pick out the colors of the suit with this device. That's great. What about fitting the man? So we looked up on Amazon. They actually make fabric measuring tape for the blind, for visually impaired. They have holes strategically placed in them, big hole. We got him the tape measurer, we figured that out. But he said, well, how am I gonna pick out like sizes and that sort of thing? If he wants a certain cut of sport jacket and all of that. And I said, well, that's where the systems come into play. This is your store. You've got complete control over the store. Remember, it's a family-owned store. He could do whatever he wants in the store. Why don't you figure out a system that works best for you? Maybe sport jackets are on this rack, full suits are on this rack, slacks are on this rack. Socks, have a table where all the socks are, or have bins where all the socks are, and you keep them separated and you know where the different sizes are, the different colors are. Create a system that you can use and that's gonna work for you, and it's gonna allow you to be successful in this task. And so I got him thinking. We started thinking about it and brainstorming and how it could work best for him. Now I'm sure he's gonna go into that situation and fine tune and tweak it and change it here and there and ultimately distill it down to the perfect system for him. And I'm 100% confident that he is gonna be successful when he decides to finally go back to work there at that clothing store because of that system. How many times have I said system in this video? I should have a counter down at the bottom counting every time I say system, 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 system. Anyway, we can apply systems to every aspect of our lives. I have a good friend and she marks all of her clothing and all of her shoes with, she has a pin friend device. So she can make little labels and mark all of her clothing. That's a great system using that piece of technology. She's got labels on all the spices in her pantry, in her cabinet. Now I use a different system for my spices. I write with a Sharpie a big letter on the top of the spice container for whatever that spice is. If it's garlic powder, I put a giant GP on it. If it's pepper, I just put a giant P, so that I can quickly, using that large print, I can quickly glance at it and see, okay, there's 2 P's. One of them's gonna be paprika, but the other one's gonna be pepper. And then I can quickly figure out which is which just by smell. So that's my system for spices. So systems don't have to be super complicated. They can be very easy and simple, but it just has to be something that works well for you, and it has to be repeatable, and you have to stick to it. Now, one thing to remember about some systems, depending on what they are, other people in the household or in the family or in the working environment might have to change what they do to adhere to your system. And it's usually nothing too drastic. A very simple system is, okay, next to my coffee machine, I've got my coffee in one container, I've got my sugar in another container. Now, my system could be, they always go in the same spot. Sugar is always first, coffee is always second. Or the system could be, I have them in different shaped containers, different size containers, so it's easier for me to remember. Now, if I have the first system where they're in specific spots, then I just need to make sure that everybody else in the family knows they need to stay in those spots. You know, grandma can't come over, make herself a cup of coffee, and move my stuff around. Okay? That's gonna be very bad. Maybe not so bad with coffee, you know, you'd open up that sugar container and be like, whoa, that smells like coffee, this isn't sugar. You know, but medicine, maybe, some other products in the bathroom, cleaning products, it could be pretty bad if those things got mixed up. So if you have a system like that, it's really important that everybody else knows about the system and sticks with it as well. So there you go, guys. The video is just, I want to get you to start thinking about creating systems, especially if somebody is new to vision loss, and it can be very daunting and very terrifying. And one of the most common thoughts that goes through their heads is, how can I do this? I can't see. I'm not going to be able to do this. And so in those cases, I want them to start thinking, well, maybe I can do it. I just have to figure out a way to do it, or figure out a system that can help me achieve that goal. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, share it on social media. You know, if you know somebody who is new to vision loss and you think they could benefit from hearing some of this information, definitely share it out there. Facebook, Twitter, all of that. That's the whole point of the channel, is getting the information out to as many people as possible. But thank you very much, guys. Sam with The Blind Life. We'll see you next time.